Hello, everyone, and welcome to Royalty, a Guelph Royals podcast where you'll get the opportunity to get to know the roster and what makes it better than the rest. I'm Teresa Skubik alongside my co-host Ryan Egan, and today we have the pleasure of getting to know a pretty big deal. We have the Royals team manager, Dino Roumel.
It's great to be with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Yeah,
you for joining.
Dino's been one of the better managers in this league for quite some time, going back to his time with the Maple Leafs. Last time the Maple Leafs won a championship, Dino Roumel was the manager of that team, and now he's looking to do so for Guelph this season.
Yeah, we're I've been in this league for a long time, and Guelph, Oshawa, Brantford, Toronto, and back to Guelph again. So it's I've worn pretty much every uniform in this league.
Well, we have some pretty high expectations for you in this podcast because you are a former sports broadcaster. What was your sports broadcasting career like?
You know what? It was a lot of fun. It was a passion that I had, just like baseball. I loved doing it. I was more the type of guy that liked the live stuff. I had a sports phone-in show that was through Southern Ontario, and we had a lot of loyal followers and people that calling in talking about local sports and professional sports. Worked at the local radio station here, worked at CKCO with Jeff Hutchison and Randy Simon and Lisa LaFlamme for a little bit. I loved doing that. It was good. I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. It was just one of those things where I was just starting a young family and I needed something a little more secure and not that opening your own business is, but I got involved in the restaurant business and again, another one of my passions. So I ended up staying with that after a lot of years of doing radio and TV.
That's so amazing. It sounds like you have quite the resume, but let's focus on one of your hobbies, baseball. How long have you been coaching and what made you actually get into coaching?
Well, first of all, those who can't do coach, so that was the reason why I started it. I started coaching at a young age. My first game managing was 1987. I coached the Guelph Junior Royals, and I was coaching guys that I just finished playing with. And we got on a pretty good run. We hadn't won a championship in Guelph in 37 years. We won one in my second year. And then I took over the Guelph Royals in the early 90s, 91. We went to 3 consecutive finals, 92, 93, 94. And in 93, we won a championship here. And that was the first one in a couple of decades as well. So we won another one in 97. So that basically, I've been doing it a long time. It's again, I love the competition. I love the camaraderie and the brotherhood. That's the part that I think when I walk away from it, I'm going to miss the most is the relationships of it. But so far, doing it for 35 years, that's the part that I love the most.
Yeah, you've coached obviously a long time in the IBL, going back even to the time with the OBJ. So you help guys, a lot of guys that you see in the big leagues now. You're coaching guys back then too. So when it comes to that, what's been some of your favorite memories coaching baseball?
Back in the early 90s, the team that we had built here, we were so close, and I still communicate with a lot of the guys, almost all the guys. In fact, this is the 30th anniversary of that championship year. There's just so many. The first championship in Guelph was incredible to be able to celebrate it here. I love this community. I was born in Toronto, but have lived here most of my life, and I love the community here. So to be able to bring them a championship back then was great. We had a fire truck out there, and it was the party that we had on the field and the crowds that we had here. I mean, I tell this story all the time. The stadium here, for those who haven't been here, it's so unique. So there's no fence along the foul lines, and you know this, Ryan, from being here. And so people bring their lawn chairs in, and we have the grandstand, and then all the lawn chairs around the whole side of the field, down the foul lines. And you get the same vantage point as the players do, because basically there's nothing separating you from the field. So it's really unique. But some of the memories I've had were we were 8 or 9 or 10 lawn chairs deep in the 90s with the fans that we had here, and people would bring their lawn chairs in. I'd go for a run. I was actually concentrating on being healthy back then, but I would go there early in the afternoon, and there'd be people coming in at 1:00 for a 7:30 game, putting their lawn chairs down and getting all their stuff together and then leave. And just the atmosphere that was created here was great. We had some university students bring in a couch, and they set up a couch near the bullpen. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, those were some of the memories that stand out. It was just the early stages and how we grew this franchise again from where it was, and the group that we had behind us. And now with Sean Fuller, another guy who reminds me a lot of the group that was back there. They just want to win so badly and want to put on a good product and love the community. I think those are some of the great feelings I have, but nothing more than the relationships that I've developed with the players. So there isn't a particular one, a long-winded answer, and I apologize, but there's not one memory that stands out the most other than the championships, other than the community and the relationships.
Yeah, and this team's looking to get back to what this team was in the late '90s, early 2000s. You guys had a great season last season and end up, being on the incorrect side of perhaps one of the biggest upsets in IBL history, definitely the biggest upset since I came into the league. So you made some changes this offseason, adding a lot of big names, a couple of guys that have played in the big leagues. Just who are some of the guys that fans should get to know that you're really excited about this season?
Well, I'm going to pick him up in about 3 hours. Dario Alvarez comes in today. But we have a number. Sandy Baez was a guy who pitched for the Detroit Tigers. He's a big physical guy that throws hard. We have Dario obviously coming in. Dario was supposed to be with us last year, and he was we had visa issues, and he got his visa the day after the signing deadline. Even though he was signed, we couldn't get him eligible. So I was kind of a letdown, but he's coming back here now. Dario, interestingly enough, Teresa, Ryan, he won a reliever of the year in the Dominican Winter League, where there's a lot of big leaguers going down there to play in the winter. He didn't give up an earned run the entire season, 25 appearances and 25 innings rather in relief, and didn't give up an earned run. So he's a guy that was in the Olympics 2 years ago, was 6-1 in the big leagues 6 years ago. But he can still throw. He's still only 32 years old, and has a great slider, a decent fastball, but knows how to pitch, and will be very, very tough to face in this league. Sandy again, another guy who, like I said, throws hard. Yuki Narita is a Japanese kid. Just know a little bit about him from a training camp we had in Tokyo for the Guelph Royals, and he throws 93, 94. Command's going to be a thing for him that we're going to work on, but he's another guy that I'm really interested in seeing what he can do. And of course, as the season progresses down the road, we'll likely have Claudio Custodio back, and maybe Hector Yan will be back here. They're both in Venezuela pitching right now.
Yeah, there's no question that I think you look at last season and this season, the pitching staff's the biggest difference. So overall, what should fans be most excited about this season? Is it the pitching staff? Is it the fact that this team is going into the season with that mindset of unfinished business? Just what should fans most be excited about this year's
Well,
team?
I think coming out and seeing some of these pitchers throw, I think is going to be great. We have 7 guys that throw over 92 miles an hour, actually. We have guys like Brandon Deans who throws 96. So they're going to see some velocity, some guys that can pitch. Our offense, quite truthfully, is going to be a work in progress for the first month or so. We have guys that have commitments elsewhere, doing things, and they'll filter in. But again, Tristan Pompey is going to be a rock star, I think, in Guelph. He's so talented. He's a great guy, obviously the brother of Dalton Pompey, and Dalton did some great things for us last year. But we're hoping to get Dalton back as the season progresses. He's now a police officer, so we'll see about his schedule. We're hoping to get Sean Riley back. Malik Collymore has, again, some commitments early on, but we're hoping to get him back. So again, there's going to be a lot of moving parts as the season goes on, but we're going to continue to try and build that. But our pitching staff is something we're going to hang our hat on early.
Well, we've talked a lot about work, but now let's have some fun and actually get to know you. So if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Guelph, Ontario. You know what? Honestly, this is my home. I love it. My kids were born here. The community's great. I have a business here. It's so nice. I was in the grocery store yesterday, and I had 4 people stop me and say good luck to the Royals this year. I think it's a great a great area for our fans. I think great sports town. I love it. I mean, it's a great city. Other than that, there's a little fishing village in the southern part of Greece that I go to quite regularly, and it's just south of Sparta, and it's beautiful. You just see mountains and water, and it's blue, blue, clear water. I think that would be the other place besides Guelph.
Great answer. If you had the opportunity to win the lottery, what's the first thing that you do after winning it?
Uh, well, you know what's funny? My brother won it. Uh, my brother is one of the greatest guys around. He's battled MS for 27 years, and he's played lotteries and he won. And and I'd be a lot like him in a sense that the first thing he did was he started taking care of people around him. And you know, the aunts and uncles, he was getting them trips to Greece to go back and see their family. And my sister-in-law is just a beautiful human being who has worked at the hospital as a nurse for you know, almost 30 years. And she went and gave some money for Christmas to all the girls on her, all the nurses on her floor. And I think I would be, and then the families, obviously, and then they got to enjoy it with their family. And I think I would be the same. I mean, I think there's just so many people that you want to have celebrate it with you. So yeah, there's not anything that I would say, oh, I'm going to go buy another house. I'm going to do it. You know, I would travel. I'd enjoy my kids a little bit more and take some more time to enjoy life. But I think the first thing I would do is probably take care of the people around me and make sure that they get a chance to celebrate it with me.
A nice and humble answer. So when it comes to your bucket list item, what's the number one thing that you'd have on a potential bucket list?
Uh, well, first is winning another championship. No, I I think travel a little bit more. I just there's that, you know, being again and being in the restaurant business and then coaching baseball in the summertime and being involved in another a bunch of different projects in the winter. You don't really have time to sort of sit back and relax. I think I'd like to see there a few more countries. You know, my daughters and my wife love traveling. They just got back from Indonesia, and you know, they've been to Morocco and a number of different really funky places that you know, are just beautiful pictures, and it's amazing travel. But there's probably travel a little bit more. I think would be the main thing that I would do to make myself happy.
What would you say that your favorite holiday is and why?
Um, Christmas. I think Christmas is. It's it's always been a special time, especially when you have kids, and we still have these traditions. We do everything the same way all these years, and it's special. And not so much the gift part of it, although you know I love giving and but I think it's, you know, Christmas Eve, watching a Christmas story and sitting and making a big spread for my family, and you know we sit and munch and watch the same movies every year, and then the next morning it's just family, and it's just and that's really important to me. I think just taking the time and no cell phones, just enjoying my daughters and my wife, and then seeing, you know, the rest of my family.
Well, you talked about watching the same Christmas movies every year. So if you could pick someone to play you in a movie, who would it be and why?
Play me in a movie?
Yes.
Ah, Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck. I used to have a mustache, so I always used to think, hey, I kind of look like Tom Selleck, but I don't. But yeah, Tom Selleck probably played me in a movie. That, yeah, I would be offended by that. Yeah, I just, you know, it, I'd love to do a movie. I've had a great life. Like I'm like Forrest Gump. I've run across people, and you know, I always say, well, yeah, I played blackjack with this guy, and I did this with this guy, and you know, and people are like, come on, you can't have all these stories, but it just seems like I'm always around something that happens that's really interesting. So I'd love to see a movie about my life.
Given all that, if you had to pick one song to be the soundtrack of your life, what would you pick?
Um, hmm, that's interesting. That's a great question, actually. Some with the word crazy in it. No, I don't, yeah, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think
Stumped
about
you.
that. I apologize. But there's a number of songs that go through my mind, but I don't know what would be the song of my life.
All right. So the last couple of weeks back, I stumped Connor on this one, so I just stumped you. So hopefully, I don't stump you on this one again. What's the coolest fact about you?
The coolest fact about me? Um, hmm. Okay. Let's see. Uh, coolest fact about me.
You don't have to be humble in this one.
Um, I still don't have a lot of gray hair at my age. I think that makes my friends very angry. No, the coolest fact about me is huh, I guess the people I've run into and the things that I've experienced. Like I think that would be that would be something. I could sit down and I'm not I don't want to name drop, but just different people that I've come across and the stories accidentally running into a famous rock band and spending a couple of days with them and then not knowing who they were and asking them stupid questions like, "You guys tour?" And they're the largest touring band in the world at that point. I thought they were a local band, but anyway, long story short, yeah, that would be the coolest thing is the people that I've come across.
Okay, so you've talked about people you've run into and you've come across. So lastly, who is your hero?
Who's my hero? My brother. My brother, like I said, has had MS for 27 years, has never complained a day in his life. Is always a smile on his face. Everybody that's come across him has said that he's someone so special. He comes to some of the games. It's tough for him because he has he's in a wheelchair, so it's tough to get out a lot, and his family do such a great job around him. But he's a guy I idolize, as an inspiration to me, and a lot of people that he's run into. I know, there was there was a head coach of the Atlanta Falcons who met him years ago and would not stop talking about him. And every single game, he would run out onto the field and come over and give him a hug, and that's what he would tell me. He said, I see your brother always smiling, and nothing that I could go through would make me complain after I see what he goes through and how happy he is about his life. So no question, my brother's my hero.
There is absolutely nothing more inspiring or contagious than people that make you smile or that make you feel good. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dino. It was great to get to know you, and we cannot wait to watch you lead the Guelph Royals to another amazing season. For Ryan Eakin, I'm Teresa Skubik, and this has been Royalty.